Hello, guys. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Today our story from the user Umpire82, and it is called My 23F Boyfriend 32M Broke Up With Me as He Felt He Was Too Insecure to Be With Me. Then took it back the next morning. I can't tell if I didn't give him enough reassurance or if I should genuinely be worried about his emotional immaturity. Story. My 23F boyfriend, 32M, and I met on Instagram back in August. Been in a relationship since November. We live in different but neighboring countries. It takes us approx. 2.5 hours to get to each other's cities, and we've been seeing each other once every 2 or 3 weeks since the month of November, when we first met. So I guess this would be one of the easier long-distance relationships. I would say he has most of the qualities I'm looking for in a long-term partner: committed, caring, generous, has a good stable social and family life, athletic, goal-oriented, our tastes and opinions, music, movies, food, politics, and whatnot, don't clash significantly. After we met for the first time, I felt like I needed to bag him as fast as I could, and that I would have a hard time finding anyone like him. I was okay with the distance, but I live at home with my parents, who are quite conservative. And I got into major fights with them to make them accept this relationship. The fact that I would spend a few days in a different city, or in my city, but in a hotel with him whenever he came to visit. So needless to say, I already invested a lot of time, energy, and emotions in this relationship. We've talked about closing the distance, marriage, kids, things I never talked about with anyone before him. Now the relationship's been overall great. We always have a lot of fun when we're together. We give each other a lot of attention when we're apart. The only negative part is his insecurities and overall bad communication. I wouldn't say we had any big fights until now, but I did shun him on a few instances of him making weird out-of-the-blue remarks such as, "I love you, but you can do whatever you want with that. Just know that I love you no matter what. You know there's always one partner in the relationship who loves the other partner more. I'm the one who loves you more. If we have kids one day and you realize you don't want this life anymore, you can leave, but you can't have the kids. I'll raise them on my own. You know how we have unprotected sex. Well, if you ever cheat me, just make sure you use a condom. You're much more attractive than I am. You know you can have any guy you want, right?" Now, when I say shun, I mean my usual response would be, "I'm not responding to that, but just know that I love you and chose you." I once also talked to him on the phone about how I was uncomfortable with him constantly trying to make me believe that he loved me more, when I'm the one who overall shows more affection, and who came to visit him first. I don't think he would have done it if I hadn't initiated it, TBH. He also later revealed to me that he was still in a relationship between August and the beginning of October, when he added me and started replying to my stories. And then fast forward to 3 weeks ago, when I came to the harsh realization that I was in the middle of a depressive episode. I had been sleeping 10+ hours a night for a while now, unable to get any work done for uni, spending most of my days at home in the dark. I talked to him about it, took the time to explain my symptoms, how I felt, and how it would affect my communication with him. For the next 2 weeks after I finally accepted that it was a depression, I just had a series of days of feeling worthless, apathetic, and dissociating for hours on end. My online communication with my boyfriend also took a toll. We still texted multiple times a day, called once every 2 days. But it was definitely less than before, and I guess my tone and overall excitedness about our exchanges was different as well. A week ago, I arrived in his city where I stayed 5 days. I didn't feel as excited to go there as before. I felt like I would have been just fine sitting in my room, but still wanted to see him, and I wanted him to know that I was still invested in the relationship despite the depression. Well, I guess I didn't succeed. I slept around 11 hours nightly while I was there, was only able to be intimate with him once, was not as affectionate as before, did not seem very happy throughout the day. To be honest, I know I spent those 5 days in my head rather than being present with him. Update 1. The last night I was in his city, we went out with a couple friends of his. He got quite drunk. Then when we came back to his place, he had sobered up enough, and very calmly told me that he thought we should break up. He said he was too insecure to be with me, that he had bad self-esteem, that he was an idiot, that he was unable to communicate feelings, that he annoys me with stupid questions, that I was way too pretty for him, and everyone was looking at me at the bar. So he knew I could have any guy I wanted, that I shouldn't waste my time with someone so old and boring, that I should be happy with someone who lives in my city and whatnot. Of course, I tried to argue with him, and we ended up fighting with me bawling my eyes out for 3 hours until 6:30 in the morning. My main point was that it was a shitty fucking way to break up with someone, and there was no need to make such huge assumptions on how a few conversations had affected me. He claimed that his previous insecure remarks and questions had probably traumatized me, and that we had started out the relationship on the wrong foot. The next morning I woke up at 9:30 and started crying again. I felt like my eyeballs would jump out of my skull at this point. He woke up like an hour later and just calmly started hugging me. When I asked whether he realized what he had done, he was silent and just giving me kisses and dog-like head bumps. I asked him again whether he realized what that meant, and if that was what he really wanted. He said he didn't really want to break up, but he had felt like shit for the 2 weeks during which he felt I was distant and disinterested in him. He said he had really looked forward to the 5 days we would spend together and was hoping to lift my mood up. But he felt like I wasn't much happier or enjoying any of the activities we did together. He thought that his behavior, and him being overall too intense, had caused my depression, and that I was pulling away from him. He decided that he didn't want to have another couple of weeks of me texting less when I would go back to my city, and he'd rather end it there. Also said that he wanted to be with someone he could make happy, and where he felt he could make an improvement in their lives. I asked him if he even took a couple minutes to Google depression symptoms, and he said no. So I explained everything to him all over again, and proceeded to apologize for hurting him and making him feel unwanted, that it wasn't my intention, and that he should have talked to me instead of initiation a breakup. He felt like talking to me about how he felt would be additional emotional labor for me, and he didn't want to be a burden in my life. We're still together now. A few hours later, when I left to take the train back home, he told me that he had felt a lot better after talking about his feelings. I expressed to him that it worried me how he didn't seem affected by the breakup part at all, and he didn't really respond. Update 2. Currently, I just don't know what to do or feel about all this. I feel really guilty for not making him feel loved, or expressing to him how much the things he does mean to me, but at the moment, I can't seem to feel any affection or feelings of gratefulness whatsoever. I don't know if I should just accept that him breaking up was a genuine response to emotional distress, which was caused by my behavior, or if it was a fake breakup to get a storing emotional reaction out of me. I feel like this is another showcase of his emotional immaturity, but I also think it's too soon to end the relationship altogether. So, do you think my coldness and shunning him at times of expressing his insecurities caused this? Should I take responsibility for the situation? Or am I being manipulated by a grown man pulling teenager tricks on me? Comment from user Crunchitacos. Insecure, unstable, manipulative, or a drinking problem. None are particularly great attributes. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel. See you again.